Good morning. Welcome to this session, Disruptive Education. In this session we have two speakers, June Breivik and Torleif Hallén. After the presentation we will try to arrange a mini panel. So please prepare some questions. The first speaker is June. She is a development manager e-learning at Norwegian Business School. She will give us a talk about MOOCs and how online learning will disrupt the campus-based education systems. Welcome.
Now there it is on. Okay, good. Oh, it's nice to see so many faces. We were wondering if anyone would attend at all. The name of my talk is MOOCs as a Disruptive Innovation. In 2012, the New York Times named 2013 the year of the MOOCs. The next year, and based on 2012, where we saw a totally eruption of many different MOOC platforms, Udacity, edX, Coursera, and several others. And then we came the downfall, and people said, okay, MOOCs don't change anything, and we had articles like this, the year after the year of MOOCs. So, is MOOCs just a fad, or is MOOCs really changing the educational landscape? Many see MOOCs as same shit, new wrappings, where you just post the traditional educational system online and you have the lectures delivered on video. And also the people that has done online learning for a long time feel sort of offended that we have been doing online learning for so long and no one has noticed us, and all of a sudden the MOOCs comes along and takes the online learning away from us. Well, to some facts. Online learning is not new. In 2008, 15% of students said they had taken a class completely online. Fast forward to 2013, almost half of the students has done the same. Have they attended a MOOC or have they done traditional online learning? The numbers doesn't say. But what we can see from the MOOCs are that there has, even though people say that the fad is over or it's overrated, we see an enormous increase in the number of the MOOCs in 1 year. In 2013, at summer, we had 615. And 1 year later, there is more than 2,600 MOOCs. Just in the first quarter of 2014, there was a huge increase, more than 60% increase in the number of MOOCs. Around Europe, we see that most countries in Europe have MOOCs. Norway, at the time of the rating, had only one. This was before summer. Now we have more MOOCs in Norway, and it's growing. We can also see that the trend in MOOCs is international. It's not just in Europe and the US. We see that there are a lot of non-European MOOCs in Asia and in Africa and South America. They are doing MOOCs as well. And just this month, next month, October, all of these MOOCs are starting. We see there is a long list of MOOCs starting just in October. So MOOCs keep starting all the time. So is this phenomenon disruptive? What is a disruptive innovation? What characteristic does a disruptive innovation have? The first thing is sustaining innovation. Many say that the way that technology has been taken into education is as a sustaining innovation. A sustaining innovation is an innovation that you use to uphold the existing system. When I use PowerPoint like this, it doesn't disrupt anything. I still give the lecture. And that is the way that technology in education has been traditionally taken into use, and that's why the educational system has not been changed by technology. And then we have something called evolutionary innovations. And that is an improvement that the customers expect. It's like when you have a slow car and it's driving faster, you expect your car to be better and driving faster and more comfortable. So it focuses on the customers you already have. When it comes to education, that would mean that we have better facilities, better rooms, better technology, but it's still evolution of the existing system. Then we have something called revolutionary innovation. And that is also when you have, for instance, a car that is substantially much better than the one you have, that will revolutionize driving, but it's still the same business model. You don't change the business model, you just radically improve it. And then we have disruptive innovation. And the father of these theories are Clayton Christensen. And he wrote the first paper on disruptive innovation, or as he called it, disruptive technology, in 1995. And ever since, he has written many books on the subject. This one from 2008, called Disrupting Class, says a lot about how education is ripe for disruption. Education is a business model that has not been disrupted by technology. And Clayton Christensen predicted in 2008 that in 2012 we will really see online learning have an impact on education. And we all know that 2012 was the year that the MOOCs erupted. And disruptive innovation is an innovation that helps create a new market and a value network. A disruptive innovation disrupts the existing market and brings on a new model. It brings along a new set of values, and it overtakes the existing market, because a disruptive innovation, according to Clayton Christensen, happens outside models. It keeps falling out. It's unexpected innovation. What happens is that traditional business normally sees the disruptive innovation as inferior. And in the beginning, it is inferior. But there are kinds of disruptive innovations. It is one that reaches the so-called areas of non-consumption. That's where the existing business don't meet the needs of the users or the customers. And then we have a different set of customers that are satisfied with a lower lower and less expensive technology. And when it comes to this kind of technologies, what we often see is that the existing actors, they take the technology and use it. But they use it as a sustaining innovation. And to exemplify this, I'm using the example of this company, Kodak. Kodak was along for 100 years. And they did take on new technology. They evolved their business. They implemented new types of cameras as the technology passed on. And they were among the first one to use digital technology for taking pictures. But still, a few years ago, this happened. And why did that? That is because because they didn't change their business model. The new codec was very similar to the old codec. So we had new actors, and that was actors that not necessarily was in the traditional photo business, that started producing items to take pictures. And the control was taken from the company to the users. You no longer did have to go to a development company to have your pictures developed and printed. You could do everything yourself. And that is a common trait among disruptive innovation. It goes from a very bureaucratic system over to control to the users. We have seen that in music, we have seen it in photography, we have seen it in travel, we have seen it in banking. That is a similar trait. Are we seeing the same thing in education? This model is what Clayton Christensen says, how disruptive technology evolves. The existing business develops and develops and becomes better and better and has more and more features that makes it more and more expensive. But there are features like the users can't use. So along comes a disruptive innovation that is like that are inferior, like YouTube. YouTube was not as good as the commercial TV channels, but users could upload their own videos, and they were in bad quality. But as it kept on being used and used, the quality was better and better, and you had more and more films to look for. So the control was moved from the producers, the companies, to the users. You can see it in music, you can see it in many business. Previously, the record companies decided who could produce their music for a broader audience. Now you just put it on online, now on YouTube. So how does this go to the university versus the MOOCs? First of all, we are in an old, beautiful building. It was built around 1400, and it's physical. The MOOCs is not physical. You don't have to attend a physical place to attend the MOOC. That is the same for online learning. And this building can take a limited number of students. The MOOCs has unlimited number of students. Is a change in mentality, because when you can have an unlimited number of students, you reach a much broader audience, and you have other other qualifications for your students. When you have a limited number of students, they have to qualify to attend the university, because you want to have qualified students, and you need a quality assurance system to make sure that the ones you have are fit to be there. When it comes to the MOOC, you don't need those. Because of the nature of the MOOCs, you can have join as you wish students. People who just want to drop and see what is happening in this MOOC. People who want to take the MOOCs 10 times, 15 times, it doesn't really matter. So that changes the way we see who can attend higher education. Also, the university has a slow change. There is a lot of bureaucracy around higher education. Don't need to have around the MOOCs. The MOOCs can change from the demands in the society. It's very easy to put up a MOOC, and because you don't have all this bureaucracy, you can see, oh, now we need a MOOC on some new game, and you can set up a MOOC, and all the people that are interested in this can join. And the formal qualifications comes not only to the ones who attend the MOOC or the university, but also the ones who give the MOOC. Because if you're an expert in something, you don't need to be accepted as a teacher at the university to give a MOOC. But in order to lecture at a traditional university, you need a lot of set of formal skills. So this gives a new set of qualifications for the teachers. Because of rapid change, there are not necessarily people that have the formal qualifications. And also the university has a slow technological adaptation. It takes a long time to implement technology into the university, as we all know when we look around and we see these buildings. What is common for MOOCs is that they can immediately use the technology available. And the question is not, is it okay, is it accepted, it's does it work? So when we come to the university, we are very concerned about the quality. Quality assurance is very important. The university looks upon MOOCs as low quality. Whether it's low quality or not, that is a matter of opinion. And that is a matter of the people using it. But when it comes to all the formal qualifications that we are used to in the traditional university, the MOOCs are low quality. They don't meet up yet to the traditional quality standards. And the limited access I've already mentioned, and the standards I've mentioned, and these are, when you come to this, these are the typical straits, these are the typical objections when you have a disruptive innovation. Like telephone that disrupted the telegraph. The telephone did not disrupt the telegraph because the telegraph was bad. The telephone disrupted the telegraph because it moved control. It moved control from the telegraph companies to the people who spoke on the phone. And that is a trait with disruptions. They don't disrupt because the existing system is bad. The existing model can be very good, like the university has high quality, high standards, and still they are being challenged by the MOOCs. Because in Europe alone, in 2020, it's estimated that there will be a lack of 900,000 people with skills in programming. Is the existing system equipped to educate all these people? Where shall they get their education? And also in the Norwegian MOOC Commission, and the existing system has problem with these new ways of learning. Like that, because of all the qualifications, we had problems calling the students of a MOOC for students, because there are a set of formal criteria for a student. So we define them as learners. And what is a student and what is a learner? Where is the difference actually? Does a learner have a lower set of skills than a student, even though they are not evaluated in the same way? And also, what you see is a different in the education system and the formal. We have a set of standards. When it comes to the MOOCs, it's more personalized. It's more under control of the student about what they want to learn, when they want to learn it, and how they want to put together their learning. And also, it's been said, at least in Norway, that we have a master sickness. That we have so many students that takes a master's that is without relevance. In Europe, we see a lot of young people with a lot of degrees that don't get a job. So does the university in the current system give people the skills they need? Or do we need a system that is based on needs, that people can easily get the education that will give them the job? And the current system is very expensive. The rise of attending a university, the cost of attending a university is rising, And in the US, they talk of a debt bubble when it comes to student loans. When it comes to MOOCs, because of the flexible structure, there is a low cost for the student when it comes to attending, and also that you can do it while you're working. And a few years ago, we had a project at my school, which we called BI 2020, that was in 1912, where we looked into the future to see what would the university look like in 2020. What would be the challenges? Who would be our students? How would we learn? What would knowledge be like? And we ended up with 3 different scenarios. One we called connect and share, one we called just-in-time skills, and one we called branded learning. I have a small video on each one of them. I thought I'd show just one of them. Branded learning is the existing model. That is based on the campus, where the campus implement technology in what I call sustaining innovation. Just-in-time skills is a way that we see already that companies develop their own system so that people learn what they need while working. The last one is called connect and share, and that is much of the MOOC idea. You learn in network, you share in network. And if this now is working, I'll show the video. Let me see. Yeah, I had it up just a minute ago. Okay. Now it's frozen. That's not the one. It was supposed to be online here. Okay. I'll see if I can find it afterwards. Just to finish up, what we see as a conclusion as the emerging that are in education, as well as businesses around us, is that we see a trend towards technology-driven networks as opposed to bureaucracies. We see an unbundling. We see banking, for instance, is divided into separate services. You don't have like a super tanker where you have a captain and a lot of services. You now see that business after business are digging into these and building small models. Like you have, for instance, travel, where you book your own flights, and then you have companies like Airbnb, where you can be your own hotel, and everyone around is hotels instead of going through the formal systems. And as a result of the internet, we are all nodes in a network. And these trends are emerging international trends, and these are the trends that we also see when it comes to learning. And I think that's my time is up. I'll see if I can find the video again. Try it again. There it is.
Connect and Share 2020 is a scenario that suggests that global learning structure is flat in terms of providing accessible web-based solutions that revoke the importance of physical presence. There is a strong competition to become the premier supplier of content in a market with myriads of niche providers.
It's supposed to be pictures.
Institutional affiliation and the diversity of providers is important to the educational market. Teaching carried out by professionals, either lecturers that are skilled at teaching by actors who perform plays that are produced by academics. Videos, virtual worlds, simulations, 3D solutions, and games are tools for learning and have to some extent replaced the role of the traditional lecture. Communication and collaboration in different online communities are important for learning. The winners are able to navigate and exploit the global digitalized community. Others will require to navigate and structure paths for learning. Teachers become mentors and provide guidance and structure. In this scenario, the emphasis is held on how students produce knowledge. Learning is not measured by reproduction of text from a syllabus. Rather, the focus is on innovation, connecting knowledge in new ways, creativity, and teamwork. In order to reach learning goals, the students are responsible for creating their own digital portfolio. Students combine their education with work, travel, and other interests. Learning is pursued by the principles.
I think I'm just because it's supposed to be a film, and you don't just get the sound. It's not as interesting when you just get a sound. I'm sorry. I did test this prior to talk, but I don't know what happened. Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot for interesting talk. Some questions? You have a mic?
Yeah.
Thank you for an interesting talk. I wonder why, is there a chance for university in future? There could be an open question here. What can we actually challenge this rising and disruptive technology with? When I look at university, we are content delivering. We're delivering teaching, social innovation with and together with students. We deliver candidates to society. What can we actually offer to address this challenge? Is there to be a new broadcasting company? Should university enter into this market to make sure that we also have a place in the future?
Oh, it's a good big question. Let me see. Or am I on? Now I'm on. Yeah, it's a good and it's an interesting question because it's really challenging because it's sort of a change in mentality. We have to challenge the way we think about education and our role. I like to compare this to the music industry. In the beginning, you just had a singer and its audience, and it was very immediate. And then we had record companies, and they controlled everything. And then we had iPod and iTunes, and you just the consumer decided more for themselves. But we didn't get less music, we got more music. And what I think is that we get a more diversity, but it's challenging our model, and we have to rethink, because we can no longer say to the student, one size fits all, and you have to adapt to our system. We have to be more humble towards the needs of the students. Yeah, I don't know if it was an answer.
Also, thank you for a nice and interesting lecture. I think you addressed part of my question, because I think that the record industry and the universities are in a very similar situation, because downloading, both through iTunes and legal channels, and also illegal downloading, actually destroy the record industry. And if you talk to artists nowadays, they don't make music out of making records anymore. Records are just advertisements for concerts. They make their money by making concerts and contacting directly with the audience. So to transfer that to the universities, do you consider a MOOC an advertisement channel for an university? Come to us and take a real degree, or is it just giving away your gold for free, hoping that somebody will come and attend?
I can say many things to that. One thing is the difference between the record industry and the university is the funding. We are, at least in Norway and in Scandinavia, publicly funded. So we have a different funding. So that should give a more open approach to education. I also see a monopoly that is broken because education is it's like what I didn't show in my presentation is let me see. It's more like, is it a genie out of the box, or is it a Pandora's box that has been opened? And no matter what you do, you can't put everything back. And earlier, knowledge was a limited access. It was either in our heads, in our books. And one of the things that was in universities was the people who worked there and the libraries. And you paid to get access to the people who work there, and you paid to get access to the libraries. Now everything is online. I can listen to the world's best professors online. And even though the professor gets very little paid, if you take a verified certificate, if you have 10 people, 100 people attending the university, it's still more money if you have 100,000 attending. So I think it's a business model that is going to change. And I think you will make money from something, and something will be free. I think what is evolving is a sort of freemium model, where you pay, where low end is free, and then you pay for high end. And just like when you have the artists and you listen to them, when they come to town, you pay to go and see them because they're superstars. It's very interesting. And I think we'll see some of the same things happening in education, where you pay to see live the ones that you've watched online.
A last question.
Thank you. I would like to know, what kind of services would you like Uninet to help you with when you want to do your MOOCs, or is there no need of centralized services from Uninet?
One thing is easy access platforms. Platforms where you can easily share and connect and upload your content, because that is a challenge today, to find good platforms for delivering content online. And that is one of the things. Coursera is basically a platform for delivering content. They don't have any content themselves, but they deliver content. They are a platform for that.
Thanks. Give her a hand. The next speaker is Torleif Hallén. He's senior advisor and project manager at Uninet. He is responsible for the lecture capture project under the eCampus program in Norway.
Careful.
And I think he will address some of the last question. Torleif will give us a talk about shared lecture capture services in Norwegian higher education, and how Uninet and the eCampus team has worked in this area and lessons learned. Welcome.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Is this on? It is. Good. Let me start by giving you all a pro tip. Before you close the folding table in front of you, make sure that you removed your smartphone from it. And let me follow up a fact: the tiny slot between the table and the chair in front of you, an iPhone will fit in that slot, and it's really hard to remove. So if the first row starts vibrating and ringing, you will know what's going on. Anyway, that was something I've learned today. Let's see if you guys can learn anything. I'm here to talk about shared lecture capture services in Norwegian higher education. And I will try to, well, Marcus's last question, I will try to, well, maybe make June happy afterwards. Or at the end of my presentation, we'll see. Isn't I supposed to, oh, it's really tiny. Hang on. The preview here is sort of,
Yeah, but I can just walk in front, that's okay. I've been together with many of you guys earlier talking about eCampus, and Ingrid has been talking about eCampus, and Jan talked about eCampus yesterday. So it's a well-known story for many of you guys. eCampus is a program that has been running since 2012. It's funded by the Ministry of Education in Norway, with the aim to digitize higher education in Norway, to put it in a simple way. We have 3 focus areas. One is lecture capture, which I'm talking about. Jan talked about collaboration yesterday, and Ingrid is talking about digital exams in the session after this one. And we have launched a few services under the eCampus umbrella in lecture capture and collaboration. We have 2, nearly 3 lecture capture services that are all in, well, 2 of them are in production, and we have 1 pilot. And for all of these 3 services, we have had different approaches how to get them up and running. But the goal has always been the same, to make affordable lecture capture available for the universities or higher education in Norway with a better quality than they are able to produce themselves. The first service that we started playing around with was TechSmith Relay, formerly known as Camtasia Relay. And TechSmith Relay started out as a test. When we had dialogues with employees in higher education, we heard that there were a lot of professors that wanted to use TechSmith Relay. They were using a related product called Studio already, and they needed somewhere safe to publish their videos. But for some reason, I don't know why, the IT departments didn't listen to them. So we had a lot of users that wanted a service that they couldn't get. So we launched a pilot. It was fairly easy to set up, days of work. And the pilot just ran. We didn't advertise it or anything like that. But after 2 years, when the pilot was shut down, we had over 1,000 users using it. So we found that TechSmith Relay was really a product that was in demand. So we put it into production, and now we have 25 universities and university colleges using it in Norway. We still have over 1,000 users, and since we launched the service a little more than a year ago, we have had over 6,000 videos produced. So it's not the biggest system out there, but it's being heavily used at the moment, and it's a product that is really easy to use for the end users, and that's what matters here. Relay is, well, you see you have a big red button named Rec for recording, and all you have to do is to record your screen, and make a screencast is to push that button or click it with your mouse. So it's really easy, and when you are done presenting, you just press stop, and everything is published, transcoded in the opposite order, and it's online for your students to consume. So it's an excellent product in being easy, but being easy, there are limitations because it's so easy, but it has been a popular product. So when we are doing Relay together, all the universities together with Uninet, and it's affordable. They pay something like, I don't know, 1,500 euros per year to use the service. It's really cheap. It's hassle-free. The universities don't have to set up anything. Just have to order the service, and they're up and running. It's easy access. All the users, you don't have to create a manual or something like that. We've tried to add some value to Relay, and one of the things we did is that we made this website, support.ecampus.no, where users can log in with Fade and click a button, and they have a user in Relay and can start recording. So it's an easy-to-use system. We've also done some other integrations. I said that TechSmith Relay, it's a simple system, so it's no video management, for instance, which means you can't delete your videos. We've implemented that. You can't manage your videos. When you have done a recording, you get an email from the service with a link to that video. So if you lose the email, you are sort of out of luck. But we created something that we called My Relay, which lists all your videos. You get embed code for them, for different formats, and so on. So we're trying to build on the service to make it even more user-friendly. And we're also developing a tool for analytics so that professors can see how their videos really are being used. Yes, if someone is good in math, you can add this together and find out it's 2,000 euros. So what can you get for 2,000 euros these days? You can hire this villa in Mallorca for 1 week, which is a pretty good deal. It looks like a beautiful place. Or you can buy this compressor from Amazon in Germany, which gives you 22 bars. Or you can get a full-blown media site installation for a year with load-balanced video servers, web servers, a database cluster, 40 workers does your transcoding, dual 10 gigabit connections. And this is something that you would have to pay a lot for if you were to do it yourself. So we started delivering MediaSite as a service, and I'm guessing that most of you knows what MediaSite is. The guy from Kaltura probably does. It's a lecture capture system, and we were approached by the people from Sonic Foundry that makes it 3 years ago, I think. And they said that we could have the server software for free if we delivered MediaSite as a service to higher education in Norway. And we knew that there was a demand for something like that. I used to work at NTNU in Norway, and we had MediaSite and spent a lot of resources on just running the infrastructure. So we set it up and immediately got the financial benefit, because there was, like I said, 5 universities using it in Norway at the time. And by doing it together, we saw that they would save money. MediaSite at the time was a proven product. And as I said, financial benefits, now it's down to 2,000 euros per year for using the service per institutions. And we have 25 universities and university colleges using it now. One of them is Swedish, by the way, Chalmers. And we have, I think we counted all the presentations in MediaSite last week, and it was 25,000 or something like that, yeah. But you can't just give us 2,000 euros and start using MediaSite. You also need a customer relationship with Sonic Foundry to take part in this. So you need to buy a MediaSite recorder or some sort of license from them to take part. Why did we choose MediaSite? Because we've been approached by other vendors as well that wants us to do the same. MediaSite, it works, and you have everything, well, most of what you want in a lecture capture system available. You have lecture capture, you have personal videos, you have learning analytics, editing, a video portal, all in one. We had a good relationship with Sonic Foundry, and the fact that they already had a lot of customers in Norway made a difference. The other vendors that came to us, they wanted us to buy their software so that it would be easier for them to sell their product in Norway, which is sort of the other way around. We set up MediaSite for the universities using MediaSite already, and of course that would make it easier to sell MediaSite in Norway, but we did it for them. So it was financial benefits from day one. And then the difficult part, Matterhorn. Do you guys know what Matterhorn is? Well, you know, of course, it's in your market. Matterhorn is an open source lecture capture system. And a couple of years ago, we had this plan that you had Camtasia Relay, which was simple and very affordable. You had MediaSite that had a lot of functionality and very expensive at the time. And we saw that there was this gap between these two products that we wanted to fill with Matterhorn, because it's open source, very affordable, it would scale. So we wanted Matterhorn to fill that gap. And we invested a lot in the product to meet demand. We wanted SAML integration, We wanted multi-tenancy so that we didn't have to set up a set of servers for each university that wanted to use the service. We hired this company, Entwine Media, which is a spin-off of the open source project that is Matterhorn, to develop new functionality to help us set up the service. And we did this pilot with 5 universities. And the pilot hasn't been a success, I would say. Out of the 5 universities, there's only 1 still testing. And maybe I should take this in the opposite order. Because we're struggling with a lot of things when it comes to Matterhorn. Stability is an issue. We haven't been able to run Matterhorn as stable so that we can put it into production. The user friendliness of Matterhorn is somewhat low, I would say. It's made by techies, for techies maybe, and we want things to be user friendly. And also it's kind of hard to pinpoint responsibilities. If something goes wrong, there are too many involved parties to, so that we can point at someone and say, you have to fix it. Because we have the pilot institutions, we have Entwine that set it up for us, we have Uninet, we have the company that hosts the hardware, and we have some companies that make the capture agents that are used for lecture capture. So it's kind of hard to, if you look at MediaSite and Sonic Foundry, you can go to Sonic Foundry and say, fix this. It's kind of hard to do that with Matterhorn. And it's not as cheap as one would think. But that may be related to the other points. We have spent quite a lot of resources on this and not been able to crack it yet. What we have been able to do is to have SAML authentication, which is good. We have the multi-tenancy working, which is something that wasn't a part of the product. And we have file sender integration. My colleague Janis has been working a lot with file sender, as some of you may know. And the point is that you can use file sender to upload videos to Matterhorn and have them transcoded and published. So we got something right. And we are trying, doing a final effort to get Matterhorn up and running because we think there is a market for it if we can do it the right way. So, I've been talking about a number of lecture capture services, and me being a nerd, I think it's cool to have, relay server, MediaSite servers, Matterhorn servers to play with. But the problem is that a lot of the universities, they are using several of these systems. So for students, the end users who we are doing this for, it's less than optimal. If I'm a student in a class, I don't look at the recorder in the back and try to notice what brand it is. If it's MediaSite, I have to go there. If it's Relay, I have to go there to retrieve my videos. And it's no easy way to share videos. You just want, or you want to share videos internally, between different classes at campus, and you want to share videos externally, either through a MOOC or with other universities. So there's a lot of manual work in handling all of these systems. So, June, this is my gift to you. Mina, student YouTube. Mina is something that we've been working with for, I don't know, a couple of years at least. I told Marcus about it for, I think it was 2 years ago in Malmö. And Mina is supposed to be a layer on top of the lecture capture services that we have. That gets the metadata out of those systems so that all the videos in all the systems across organizational boundaries are collected in one interface. So we want it to be like a student YouTube where you can find all your videos but also related videos from other universities. And you can use it as a professor, you can log in and use videos that are already shared. You can share your own videos here. As a student, you can log in and get the videos that belong to your courses and see related videos. And this is, Mina was just recently released in version 1. As you can see from this screenshot, there are 4 videos in it. So there are probably not many students going there yet. But our plan is to get the universities to use this, so that it will be filled with, potentially now we have over 30,000 videos that can be shared through Mina. So that when you log in with your FADA account, we can identify you, we can look you up in the student information system, we can know what courses you are following, and present your videos to you as a student. It will also enable the professors to add a Creative Commons license to their work, so that other professors can know what they can do with it. You'll be able to share what you want to share and hold back on the stuff that you may not want out in the open, and you use what you want to use based on the license. And we have automatic harvesting in place from both MediaSite and Matterhorn. For Matterhorn it was easy because it's using a protocol called Open Archive Initiative Protocol for metadata harvesting. I've been practicing a lot on that one. And from MediaSite we have sort of made this connector between Mina and the system. For TextMit Relay there's a little bit more work involved because there are no metadata in TextMit Relay, so the professor will have to add that manually. But everything is in place, so we will start working on getting content in there now, because we have a lot of content. So Mina, the road ahead. Number one problem, we have this new shiny portal. We have this great name for it, at least we think it's great. But there are no culture for sharing in Norway. Well, there is some culture for sharing, but not as much as we would like. We would want every professor to share his or her videos on Mina. So that is something we will have to work on. Mina will require more work for lecturers. It will require you to maybe think a little bit more about what you do with your videos. If you want to share it, if you will have to maybe add metadata so it's more usable for the ones using what you are sharing. And you will need workflows taking place on a technical or administrative level to be adapted to Mina. Because as it is now, you make a recording, but you don't really think about that it's supposed to be outside. You don't think about, copyrights on images used, because if it's in a closed system, you kind of easy to go easy on it. So that is our plan for Mina. We are planning a meeting in December where we will meet with higher education in Norway and sort of try to start stimulating them to use it. Summary. Do share. It's cheaper, you get better functionality, and you get more functionality, and the most important thing, you get happier users. And that's what everything should be about, basically. I guess we're doing questions in common, perhaps. And if you don't want to ask it here, I will be at the Uninet stand afterwards. I have to get my phone first, but...
Thank you, Torleif. Then will you come up? And we have a mini panel open for questions. So be free.
Well, when we have the chance for having two of them, how can we use this technology and where does it actually fit in? I think about, you're talking about this is the students' YouTube. So the students would probably like to upload their own things on YouTube, because they will like to share it with all the world. And Mina is closed to other students. So if I'm thinking about,
what Mina is, it is what the users want it to be. Okay. If a professor wants his videos to be open, or her videos, then it will be open for everyone to search. And long term, I think we can say that you can have an LTI integration with your learning management system, so we'll have it accessible from there. But across courses and institutions, definitely.
What I'm trying to get at is, if we should push ourselves to the boundaries where we are right now as universities, we are challenged with disruptive technology. So there will be other players in our field now, and we have to accept that. So which position should we have? Should we have the high quality, which is our brand right now? University is ranked, and we are very keen about our ranking. So this is one thing. The high quality comes with a high cost, like the campuses. But this is not actually giving some value to the students. Students doesn't realize that the management, the facility management is actually costing a lot of money. So they will like to have nice video, a good session, have a social experience with other students. So where do we fit in? Should we try to make the videos pleasant? Should we try to use social media platform? You have yourself a Twitter account. Should we use the videos to say, well, take a look at this. This is really nice stuff. Share with your Facebook or with your Twitter account to have a large group. And the business case here should be that, well, we are paid, government paid, so we like to share. It's free. But is there a business model to this? Can we gain any form of revenue in just sharing, or should we have a basis where we say this is for sharing, this is all free, but if you really like the top classes, you have to pay for it? Should we have this, and can the technology actually give us this possibility to see this is open and this is closed and you have to pay for this? How should we handle this? Is there a business model, and which kind of business model is there in videos?
I can try and start with an answer, and when I get lost, June can take over. Videos are more of a delivery to the MOOCs, I think, to the open bit, and there are videos that can be opened for quality reasons or any reasons, and there are videos that must be closed, medical videos, for instance, with real patients. So we are trying to give the universities tools that enables them to do whatever they want to do, and the business case, it may differ. It may be a MOOC, it may be, a further education course that is paid for, so your content must be locked down. So we just want to provide the products that gives the universities the chance to do whatever they want to do, and that is probably changing as well. Guessing 5 years down the road, there's maybe everything is open or everything is closed because we found that MOOCs are crap. I don't know. But it's important for Uninet. It's important to deliver the right products that supports business cases like MOOCs. Did I succeed, or?
I don't know.
Yeah.
If I knew the answer to that, I would be very rich. So I don't. But there is a few things. One thing is that the copyright regimen that we have, that is from the Gutenberg era. Copyright was not an issue before we started printing books. So that is a mentality, and that is based on a limited view on knowledge as a scarce something that you need to qualify to get access to. Now we are seeing that the more you share, the more knowledge you get. So we are getting into a new view on knowledge, and there was a mining company in Canada that used what is called the wisdom of the crowds, because their geological data is business secrets, but they put them online for everyone to see, and people said, my God, this is crazy, because that is really valuable business secret. what happened was that they used the wisdom of the crowd to get advice on where to mine. And they found much more minerals than what they did the traditional way. So I think we're in a period where we need to change our mental models. And mental models takes a while to change. And where we end up, it's difficult to say, because the roots of the university is so strong and they are so long. And like you say, there are new players in the field. And we don't really know how they will dig into the existing market, but we see a lot of new startups coming, and especially in the US, in Silicon Valley, they are seeing this as the new wave, this is the new area for education, and all the big players are in this field. Gates Foundation is there, Google is there, Amazon is there, all the big players are there. And when you see like the Enlightenment, that happened in the coffee houses in the UK. So maybe it's the conversation. There is a saying that in the future, the university will be a coffee shop. And maybe the conversation, the dialogue, because people still need people. But you don't need to sit in a lecture hall, but you need the discussions. So maybe we need just to change the models, but we still need to meet.
Just a follow-up, I think the technology is the easy bit here. Are there any professors in the... Professors are not very easy to change, to put it mildly. So, you know, getting them to change and getting them to share is a much more crucial task than getting the right technology in place, because that's easy. It's just about, well, it's about money, and but it's fairly easy compared to changing the professors.
Hi. I probably was a bit unattentive, but were you mentioning that you envision MENA to be the media management system for the individual organization?
No, sort of like a middle thing. Not media management as in editing or taking stuff offline or online or stuff like that, but for managing your metadata maybe, and retrieving and sharing in that on that platform.
Yeah, okay.
I just wanted to mention one aspect which I hope is disruptive in what Tolef is doing, and he's so used to it he didn't even mention it. All of the services he mentioned are open for students to use, unless the university or the college bars them from access to it. So there's nothing stopping a student from logging in with FADA, doing a lecture capture in Relay and putting that online and sharing with the other students. There are no technical barriers. And there's a reason for that, which Tolef mentioned. Professors are hard to change. Students, however, have a natural turnover of somewhere between 3 and 7 years, depending on whether they take a master or a bachelor. And they're lots easier to change. So that's one way of getting the disruptive element going. Open the infrastructure and the student and the services to the students so they can actually use it for useful stuff. Do not bar them from doing things that will make the universities better.
I have a short comment on the universities. I have some experience from the banking and financial sector, and that sector has been exposed to, I would say, disruptive change, technology-based, for the last 15, 20 years, starting with the internet. We now have internet banking, we have banking on our cell phones. Hardly anyone goes to the big, very elaborate bank buildings anymore, and we expect that kind of services to be accessible to us anywhere. And there are totally new players coming into that field now. For instance, Apple, for those of us who are Apple fanboys and girls.
I don't even have a phone, don't look at me.
Oh, sorry. We'll fix that. For instance, with iPhone 6 now, you have the combination of near-field payments with Apple Pay, and very large players from the US, Mastercard, Visa, American Express, teaming up with Apple to make this a reality. So credit cards will be going out, and what do you need banks for then in the value chain? So it's a change in paradigm. I think as a society we will benefit from this, as you say, because the total education level in society will increase. We also have north-south issues here, because this kind of cheap education is readily available to any Indian or any person that's really hungry and eager to learn. And I think the Western full-time student is also very much challenged, because I think, at least in Norway, Norwegian students, I'm speaking of some experience from my own family, are hardly full-time students anymore. They tend to work in addition to studying, and they would like to have like a time and space, independent access to lectures and to their studies. They won't like to show up at lecture 8:30 in the morning and sit there and receive information. They would like to do their MOOC and answer the questionnaire in the evening after they've been to work at 7-Eleven or something. So, what should I say? I'm into that coffee shop thing, yeah, because what's dangerous with this kind of technology, I think, is that I don't have the English term for it, frafall. People tend to drop out from this kind of teaching situation more easily than they do when they have a social network around them. And I think the premium and low cost model is also very relevant. But most of all, I think the universities have a very important role in getting the students into the circle and keeping them there in a social network. I think that will be the most important thing. And of course, when you do natural sciences, you have to have access to laboratories and such things. But to teach like math or any like more static knowledge, I think MOOCs are an excellent vehicle.
Can I just make a short comment? Because you mentioned the banking system, and I can't resist mentioning bitcoins. How many here have heard about bitcoins? Yeah, that is really a disruptive innovation when it comes to the existing banking system. And we don't know where it ends, but there are a lot more both academic institutions and restaurants and hotels and businesses that are accepting bitcoins as currency and as payment. And who would think that a few years ago?
I have a question actually for Juna. You mentioned in your talk that universities are about quality and quality assurance, whereas MOOCs are about low quality. But many of the MOOCs are delivered by the same universities. So there's some irony here, perhaps. Is this something that technology can fix, or is it more about culture and, well, mostly culture, perhaps?
I think saying that MOOCs is low quality is a very simplification. Because like one of our lecturers said, he's been looking at some of the MOOCs in math, and he said the students who are able to complete them, he'd hire them anytime. Because it takes a lot of skill and a lot of knowledge to complete them, because they're really difficult. But because they don't meet up to the standards we have today, they are considered low quality by many of the players. But I think that is just a matter of time, just like the telephone was low quality compared to the telegraph. It took over and disrupted and changed the model. And the cell phones, they were big boxes with low quality, and now no one uses a landline anymore. So you see it coming over and over again.
Final comment, if I can. I've seen University of Manchester trying to come up with some answers to this. And one of the answers is that they have changed the progression of the students. So instead of telling the students you have to take this class and this class and this class, they turn it around and try to tell the students, what do you like? What could be reasonable to take? Yeah, you have to have this math class before you can take advanced math, and then physical, and then chemistry, and so on. But they try actually to turn it over to the students and encourage them to take classes that they will find interesting. And they also use videos, and of course they also try to tell this with the blended learning, so there's not just video to look at, but they also interact to it. I think that approach could be interesting. And what they should try to reach into, like we are also struggling with, where is the position of the university? And in Denmark, which is also the case in Norway, university is funded by the government because the government like to have candidates for the working for the community. And if the university are able to bring candidates to this market, to the job market, then the university have a position. If they're not able to do this and can make it clear this candidate is actually a good candidate and this is a poor candidate, we don't have a position. Then you can take MOOC and the credentials from MOOC on whatever learning system there is. So probably if we can turn it around, put the student in the center, motivate them, because the dropout rates are high also in MOOCs, very high actually in MOOCs. But if we can make blended learning and add up to the good pedagogical principle there also is, maybe this is a approach to the challenge there is with this kind of disruptive technology.
There are some interesting reflections there and some very good points. People keep talking about dropouts in MOOCs, and I'm not too fond of people of that idea, because it's a sort of just putting the old model on the new one, and I like to use the word drop in, because if many of the candidates that are dropping into MOOCs don't intend to take a degree or to complete the course. They go in because they're interested in a subject, or because they are interested in just seeing what this is. And what they see, the people that runs the MOOCs, is that many people attend the first course and they sort of check out. And then if they find that this course is interesting, they sign up for a verified certificate. And the completion rates there are between 60 and 90%, so it's a totally different rate. And also if you have a course, let's say with 30,000 students and only 10% complete, that is still a lot of students. And many of those would never ever have attended a university. So I think it's wrong to judge the MOOCs by their dropout rates. I think we should rather judge them by their drop-in rates.
Okay. Give them a hand. Thank you. I have one announcement about the gala dinner tonight. It's at the Uppsala Castle at 7:30. And for those who have signed up for buses, the buses are leaving from Clarion Scandic at 7:10 and from this venue at 70:20. And it's too late to be on the bus if you haven't ordered. So thank you all. It's lunch.